there's
taking a long route.
There's no quick way to get to the top of the dugout. I think you're still standing because when they get up here, you're going to clap again, aren't you?
Yes.
Tim Raines and Pudge Rodriguez. Well, on behalf of the White House Historical Association and the Nationals, our pleasure to welcome you to a very special day. It's our Hall of Fame Day with Tim and Pudge, and it gives you the opportunity to visit with our Hall of Famers. At the end of our session, you'll all be lined up to be able to take a photo with these great guys. When I did this thing, go into the moment and ask each of them a question, you'll have the opportunity to step up to the microphone and ask some questions. So we'll have a little alternate thing going. We have one down here, we have another one in the aisle up there. So be patient and hopefully we'll get to all of your questions. So Kelly and Kurt will be handling that. And now for the official introductions. Tim Raines played 13 years for the Montreal Expos. He was regarded as one of the best leadoff hitters and base runners in history. 2,605 hits, 808 stolen bases. And Tim was a guy, because of his stolen base percentage, which was around 85% for his career, a lot of other base stealers who came along afterwards were kind of measured against Tim because of his great stolen base percentage. And so our first inductee in 2017 to the Hall of Fame to welcome the great Montreal Expo, Tim Raines. Pudge played for the Rangers, the Marlins, the Tigers, the Yankees, the Astros, and Washington Nationals. I still think he's the reason Steven Strasburg struck out 14 Pirates in that first game. Steven had a little bit to do with that. Pudge is a 14-time All-Star, 99 American League MVP, 13 Gold Gloves, 13. And join Tim in this year's Hall of Fame class, Ivan Pudge Rodriguez. And you two look marvelous, by the way, and it's so great to have you here in D.C. Tim, you first. You go back a little further before Pudge, just a little bit. When you see now the Expos and they've moved to D.C. and become the Nationals, what kind of a feeling does that give you to know that the team left Montreal? I know a lot of folks up in Canada were so sad and so upset about that. But to a certain extent, the legacy of you, Andre Dawson, Pedro, Larry Walker, all those great guys, sort of lives on through our franchise. What does that mean to you?
It means a lot. I tell you, it really does, because, like you just said, our legacy lives on through, the Nationals right now. I'm pretty sure people in Montreal are pretty upset that they don't have a team there, but all the memories came along with the team. So as you see, you got Gary Carter, the Ring of Honor, Andre Dawson, the Ring of Honor. Those two guys were the greatest players that ever played in Montreal. And to be here today and to be up there with those guys is something that's very special to me as well.
Before one of our fans asks you this, I will. Who's faster, you or Trey Turner?
Now?
Turner?
I am.
Pudge, who's faster, you or Jose Lobaton?
Me.
Well, he gets a bat left-handed once in a while, so he gets about a 4-foot head start. Pudge, it's so great to have you back here, and you were with the Nats toward the end of your career. Tell us how that all came about. How did you get here? And then in your couple of years here, including the Strasburg game, you got to see a very young team that was just kind of starting to feel its way a little bit. What did you see here that maybe led you to believe that this would be a real good ball club and organization someday?
Well, first of all, I want to say that I'm very happy to be back to National Park again. It's been a while, and it's always nice to see. It's always nice to see that W and the red jerseys, and remind me a lot of memories when I was here 7 years ago. When I see all of you guys, basically all this ballpark full of people and supporting the Nationals play. To me, the way that I decided to come is, I gotta say, Mike, thanks to Mike Rizzo. Mike was the guy that calls me and my agent around November or December. And one of the things that Mike told me was that he would like to having me here for a couple of years. And we have the conversation that why you want me to be, part of the national. I always American League player. I played pretty much my whole career in the American League. I never played, long time in the National League. The only year I played was in 2003 that I went in the Marlins. We asked which question, and one of the questions that he said to me was that if you're coming over, I want you to help these young kids that we're gonna, bring it up soon to the big league, including Steven. And that's what I say to him. I like the idea, and that's one of the reasons that I decided to come, because I did that in the Marlins. I did that here for a couple of years, play every day, just be with the young clubhouse and talking about baseball. It's not only on the field, it was in the clubhouse. We talk a lot, and we ended up having pretty good 2 years that I was here. But the most that I enjoyed here in the 2 years was the last year that I was able to help with the pitching staff and helping Wilson Ramos to become a great catcher. And unfortunately, he's not here now, but what he did for the organization and what he did for the national was great, and that's one of the reasons that I was my last 2 years in my career, was here one of my 2 best years in my career.
If you could give us sort of a quick answer to this one, what was that night like when Steven Strasburg made his debut? Because there was a ton of hype. It was a couple of months into the season. Here he comes from the minor leagues. I remember after about 4 innings, I'm sitting up there, and he had already struck out 7 or 8 guys, and I said on the air, he can't be this good. Sarcastically, of course, because he certainly was. Your memories of that particular night?
Yeah, I remember that like if it was yesterday, to be honest with you, because a young kid like that, be able to come and pitch in the first major league game and strike out 14 batters, and I think it was 9 or 10 was consecutive on the road. And to me, we all know in the organization that he's going to be a superstar one day in the big leagues. Since he came in from San Diego from college, that he's going to be a good one. Just be able to talk to him and having a conversation with him in the clubhouse. He was very, he listened a lot. He's very mature in what the answers back and the report, the stand report. And fast forward to that night, basically, I know that he throws 100 miles an hour at the time, and what else I'm going to be calling than number 1, right? I'm calling fastball all the time. I'm calling fastball. So I always a big believer of that pitch. I think that pitch, if you ask Jamie, that's one of the most difficult pitches to hit. It's a very good fastball in or outside of the plate. And today I still teach that to kids. Establish your best pitch. And the pitch that you have the most control to throw is a fastball. So he has the 100 miles an hour and then he had a tremendous second pitch that was the breaking ball. And doing that, that night, doing the game, he has those two pitches working, and boy, for a catcher, when you see a pitcher that throws 100 miles an hour and have that 12-6 breaking ball for a strike, make my job easier, and that's what he did.
Yeah, you're very humble.
Thank God I didn't have to face that guy.
Yeah, you were not in the Pirate lineup that night, Tim. Hey, one more quick question. One more quick one for Tim to get him involved, and then we'll turn it over to all of you. Talking about the fastball, curveball type combination. You were a switch hitter, got things done. On many occasions, you homered from the same side of the plate in the same game. Who was the toughest for you, maybe from the right side and from the left side, as far as an opposing pitcher?
Well, I don't really give many pitchers credit. Steve Carlson from the left side.
He used to bust that slider around you guys with that right hand.
And I was a young guy when he just dropped down the tail end of his career, but he one of the best pitchers that ever played. So obviously it was going to be tough for me being a young player. But even if I was older, I don't think I would have been able to hit him anyway. But right-handers, it's probably going to shock you, but Kurt McCaskill. I don't know if anybody here ever heard of Kurt McCaskill, but he
Yeah, I think it was back then.
I think I was the only guy he got out. Because when I played with him in Chicago, he couldn't get anyone out. But I played against him when he was in California, he got me out.
I got one question to him. And I know the answer. How many times I throw you out? I know the answer.
I know he don't want to bring that up.
Go ahead.
I don't think he ever did.
So, 0 myself, yeah. Well, he's pretty happy about it.
Hey, but that's because I never ran against him. That's why.
Jeff, you didn't pick him off though, did you? I know you used to love picking guys off.
0
Okay. Pudge Rodriguez is human, ladies and gentlemen. All right, we've got Kelly and Kurt with the microphones here in an orderly fashion. Step up to the mic, come on up and ask your questions, and we'll turn it over to you. Now, be nice and loud and clear for us so we can hear you.
Okay. Pudge, I'd like to thank you for your hard research into the Tigers. Could you talk a little bit about what happened to turn the team around in 2006?
Well, I think everything started since 2004 when I came to the Tigers. I was, the year before I was playing with the Marlins, and I win in 2003, and that's the season that the Tigers lost 116 games. And during that whole season, when I decided to go to the Tigers, my family sit down with me and tell me, what the hell are you doing? You go into a 116 losing team, losing team, and you become a world champion. And I say, yeah, that's where I want to go, because that's the teams that I really wanted to play. During that whole season, Dave Dombrowski and Mike Ellich, Mr. I, have a conversation with us, and he said to us, I want you to come over. We're going to give you a 5-year contract, and I wanna build a team around you. I want you to be the guy. And basically, when he said that to me, he said it all. Because after that, I came in, Mario came in, and Cabrera came in, Polanco, and then we becoming a winning team. And in 2006, one of the reasons that we in the World Series is because he put that team together very quickly. And he told me that. If you're coming on board, I'm going to promise you, you're going to be back in the World Series in 2 years with a good team. And that was it. We play. Unfortunately, we have a great year, but beating the Yankees early, and then came and played with Oakland and sweep Oakland in 4 games. kill us because St. Louis series went through all the way 7 games, and we have 9 days off before the World Series start. And team knows when you have those many days off, especially with the cold weather and the playoff, it's going to hurt you. And that's probably one of the reasons that we lost that year, because those 9 days off that we have in between.
Hey, up there, back microphone.
Hey, I think Pudge will take this.
I think you guys can be a big part of it. Why not? The fans can be a big part of it. Obviously, it's a great question that you asked. Obviously, unfortunately, it's not in our power to do that, because that's what the Hall of Fame committee is there, and the writers and the voters and all that involved. But if it's me and team, of course, we love to have one in there in the Hall of Fame, because I always say that when you have a great career, you deserve to be there. You deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. But that's a great question. But in that case, we can support as much as we can. But at the end, it's not our decision to do.
Okay, thank you. And you folks, I'm sure know this as baseball fans. Of all the sports, this is the toughest Hall of Fame to get into. That's why what these two guys have done is so remarkable. Take the mic and slant it down toward you there. There we go.
I'm a lifelong Rangers fan. This is a big deal for me. I saw you play many times in Arlington. I'm wondering if you might tell us what it's like to catch Nolan Ryan.
Catching Nolan Ryan was great. I was honored to play with him for 3 years, and played with him pretty much at the end of his career. And his last pitch that he throws to me was at the age of 46. Wow. And the last pitch he threw to me at 46 was 98 miles an hour. That's pretty amazing at 46 years old doing that. And just to be able with him and be with him in the clubhouse, spend time with him, see his preparation, his discipline, his work ethic, day in and day out, and be able to play with him and catch with him and Nolan feel comfortable with me behind the plate. Every time I catch him, it was an honor for me to play with him.
Yes, sir, up here.
Hey, guys. So, thinking back to before you were drafted, before you signed with the pro teams, when you heard Montreal, when you heard Texas at such a young age, what went through your mind when you were thinking about going to other countries that I'm assuming you'd never been before? And was that daunting? Was it exciting? How did that play out for you guys?
Well, Tim is from here. I'm Montreal. Are you from here?
From I'm going to answer that question. He didn't really get it. For me, when I was drafted by the Expos, I swear I didn't know where I was going. Didn't know much about Montreal, didn't know much about Canada. But I did know, I'm from Florida, and they had a spring training team in Daytona Beach around the time I got drafted. So I knew of the team, but I didn't know much about Montreal. So it was surprising, because I didn't really, as a youngster in high school, I didn't really talk to many scouts from Montreal. So it was surprising that I was drafted by the Expos. But it was something that I wasn't quite ready for at first. But once I got drafted, I knew there was an opportunity to get to the major leagues, which Montreal had a major league team. So I was pretty excited about that.
How'd you go to Texas?
Well, for me, it was a little different, because I'm coming from Latin America, basically in Puerto Rico. Back in those days, the only few teams that we we were able to see on TV was Cincinnati or Pittsburgh. Texas, I really know not much about it, like Tim says, but being a professional anywhere is good. I mean, it's just any organization obviously is good, especially for us when I came from an island and we all play baseball and we love baseball. Baseball in Puerto Rico is our #1 sport, and basically that's our dreams. And I was able to sign at the age of 16. I didn't speak any English at all. It just to me was a big challenge. I still don't speak well. I call my language Spanglish, to be honest with you. But those are the good challenges in life that you have to go through. And if you want to be good, or if you want to be a superstar in any sport, or be a professional in any profession out there, you have to go through all these challenges. And to me, I was able to go through it, learn from it, learning in a good way, bad way. But at the end, I was able to play 21 years in the big leagues and be in the Hall of Fame today.
Question for Tim. Tim, my wife and I drove up to Montreal early this spring to see those exhibition games that the Blue Jays had with the Pirates. The city of Montreal filled that stadium up 2 nights. You were the guest of honor. That must have been amazing for you. They loved you being there, and it was a great celebration. How special was that?
Well, for me, it's always special going back to Montreal because that's pretty much where I grew up as a major league player. Even though I still don't speak very good French, and I don't think I'll ever will, but Montreal is like home for me, home away from home. I spent 13 great years there. Obviously, it was tough early in my career because of the language barrier, but it didn't have any effect on the way I played the game. I met a lot of great people there, and if I had the chance to do it all over again, I would do it again because it was such a great 13 years in Montreal.
Yes, ma'am, up here.
What was your favorite ballpark to play in and why?
Favorite ballparks to play in, both of you.
For me, every ballpark is my favorite. Every ballpark. I mean, I just enjoyed playing the game, and I think there's really no favorite. When you put on your uniform and you get to go out and compete against the best players in the world, that's your favorite time, is to go out there and compete and prove how good you are against them and they're against you. So it's just a great time going out there.
Pudge, other than Nationals Park, what's your favorite?
Well, to me, I have the same answer that team. I mean, all 30 ballparks, every ballpark that I go and play, is always nice to play. But I think having all of you guys watching the game of baseball in every ballpark, to me, that's why every ballpark to me is the best, because you guys are a big part of what we do out there on the field day in and day out, and the support that you guys give to us, believe it or not. Sometimes you guys don't know this, but you bring us a lot of energy to us every time we play 9 innings out there, because our job is just to put a good show out there for you guys and do the best that we can to obviously win for your team, but you guys are a big part of the reason that Major League Baseball is the way it's today.
First, I want to say what a pleasure it was and how much I enjoyed seeing both of you play. Pudge, I do have a question for you. First of all, welcome back to DC. Second, when you caught, one of your great skills was avoiding a terrible collision at home plate, still blocking the plate and making the play. I just want to know how you feel about the rules changes we've had on plays like that recently.
I'm not a big fan of it, to be honest with you. I know that we have to sometimes respect rules, respect what is the way baseball is today. But I'm a fan of, see baseball back the way it was before. You had to block that play, you had to protect that base. To me, that is a scoring base. You have to, that's the base that you score every single time you touch it with the spikes, that base. That's the way baseball is today. The replays, and now you cannot, you have to slice 6 feet before the base in second base. Baseball changed a little bit, but at the same time, the technology is out there, and the world is changing, every year. That's the reason they use that. But go back to that play, home plate. You can see me walking pretty good coming over here, and I block the play every time, and I get hit a million times on the plate, and I still walking fine. I still working 5 days a week. Then I play golf 5 days a week, so it's not a problem.
And by the way, after they throw out the first pitch tonight, we're going to put Tim up the third baseline. He's going to take out Pudge. So stay tuned for that.
As long as you don't have on all the equipment, I don't mind.
This bone is not coming back.
Yes, sir, up there.
Yes, this question is mainly for Mr. Raines, but Mr. Rodriguez as well. You guys have both obviously had amazing major league careers, and I apologize, Mr. Raines, up front. I'm going to date you a little bit here.
That's okay, I'm old.
I had the opportunity to watch you play in '79 for the Memphis Chicks, and I'm wondering what both of your most memorable moments from the minor leagues.
Well, I would have to say, my son, Tim Jr., was born on August 31st. I was playing with the Memphis Chicks. And I got to see him for 2 days. The Chicks was in the playoffs, and I think on September the 4th, I was called up to the Major Leagues for the first time. So just going through that pregnancy, being able to see my first son born, and then being called up to the Major Leagues like 3 or 4 days later was probably the most exciting time in my career at that point.
Well, mine has to say probably when I was 16, came to speed training, and be able to be in a professional clubhouse, far away from home, and play something that I dreamed for. It was a lot of work back home, and then play my first game there was great as a professional player. Obviously, I got to go with teaming, with my kids aboard. By the way, I have one right there too. My middle one is right there. It's hard to believe she's already working for the team. But again, I think to me, minor league is great because the working process is good. It's a lot of hard work. I started my professional career in Gastonia, North Carolina. North. Well, anyways, Gastonia. And it was tough because it was nothing around. It was hard for everyone to just play baseball. But the good thing is not only was there in my league for 2 years, 2.5 years, and a 19-year-old was on the league.
Okay, so that all of you can get your pictures taken, we're only going to have time for one more question from each microphone. So my apologies to those that are in line, but we have to get ready for a ball game tonight too, so thank you. Sir, down here.
That's a lot of pressure, Bob. Pudge, I just want to thank you for coming to DC. I introduced my daughter to baseball at a very young age. And when you came here, I impressed upon her how if she was seeing a Hall of Famer, and that she should watch you because you were going to be in the Hall of Fame, and the way you played every day and the effort you gave out was a pleasure for all of us fans, and we could see it in you. Tim, just quickly, I had the pleasure of being at Camden Yards the day that you played in the outfield with your son. I'm just wondering what you remember about that day and what that meant to you.
Oh my God. It's something that it's hard to describe because there's only been one other father-son combination to ever be able to say that they played with their son, and that's the Griffiths, Griffey Sr. and Griffey Jr. I just remember standing out in left field. He was playing center field that day, and they were playing the national anthem, and I broke down in tears. It might have been the first time I ever showed any type of emotions on the baseball field in my career, and that was, late in my career. I think I might have played 2 more years after that, but just to know that I played long enough, and I never forced my kids to play the game of baseball. I've always told them, don't worry about that. Be you, be yourself. And if it's baseball, I'm behind you 100%. If it's some other sport, I'm behind you 100%. Even if it's not sports, I'm behind you 100%. And he decided to go the baseball route, and I was happy. I was happy for him to get that opportunity to play in the major league. But not only that, to get an opportunity to play with his dad. I mean, that's so special, and I was happy to get that opportunity.
That's great, Tim. That's absolutely wonderful. One more, sir.
This question's for Pudge. Just wondering what it was like being in the middle of the Nolan Ryan Rocket Reserve fight, and were you in Aquaman out that day what 40-something-year-old could do?
I don't remember.
What fight? Well, it was like being on this Saturday's fight, McGregor and Mayweather. It was a fight that was waiting to happen. Unfortunately, the series before was something that happened. It was a couple of things that happened that Ventura was involved, and obviously Nolan Ryan don't have no mercy for nobody. So it was right there. The first pitch he threw, they hit him, Robin run out. But it was a mistake, I guess, from him that he went in there. I tried to hold him, Ventura, but the opposite way, pushing to him. But it was that's part of the game. That's part of baseball. You guys saw what happened in Detroit the other day, and those are things that happens in the game of baseball. That you got that fight, and then it's over, and then back to the game, and then the next day is another game.
Hey, thanks for all your questions. You guys did great. Thank you very much. Okay, here's what we're doing. Lindsay's going to take Pudge and Tim